Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar video. In this one I want to go a little bit in depth on the Topps Avatar card set. Technically called the 2021 Topps On Demand set number 4, Avatar The Last Airbender. So I posted a video about this obviously a while ago, I think in or around, I think maybe just before it was about to go on sale or while it was on sale. It has of course since gone on to sell out because the idea is it's an on-demand set. They were only going to print a certain amount because the rare cards, the parallels, were going to be numbered, so there was always going to be a set amount. They have now kind of publicly come out and said that the print run is 4,750 in terms of that's the number of packs, I guess, that they put out there, which is kind of interesting, and we'll get into that in just a second. So just to go through this before, just so everyone knows what we're talking about here. This sold out. People have started to get them over the last couple of days. I had ordered one pack. It's not arrived yet, just because I'm in Ireland. These are shipping out from America. It's going to take a little bit to get to me. I'm expecting to see my pack maybe next week, maybe the week after. The post has been quite slow. I will do a video when I get my pack. So we'll go through the description here. So the idea is you buy a pack. It was $10 a pack. You also have to pay some shipping, of course. So you get 10 cards per pack. You get 9 base cards or 9 common cards where there's nothing special about them. You just get 9 out of the set of 20. But the key thing was your final card is a parallel. You get a parallel card that can be any of these different colors, but it will be a unique numbered card. You are going to be the only one who has that color of that card with that number. So that's the kind of cool factor here. You might have the same color and card as someone, but they won't have the same number. So here's the sort of breakdown of the rarity. Blue parallel are numbered up to 149. What that means is that each of these cards, 1 to 20, there is 149 of all of them. There's 149 Jets, there's 149 Sukis, there's 149 Angs at blue. So that's something to note. That's the kind of most common of the parallels, is the blue bordered card, which looks like this. So you can see the Sokka has the kind of blue border around him compared to, say, the Katara. That's what a common looks like, just normal. So that's what it means when it says blue parallel. Green parallel numbered up to 50. And again, the idea is that there is a number 1 blue, there's a number 1 green, there's number 1 red, white, black. It's not that, the number 1 is this, but then from 2 to 5 is this. There's all the numbers that it says there is for each of these colors. So that's important to realize as well. So there's 50 of the greens, there's 25 reds, 10 whites, 5 blacks, and 1 4 elements parallel. I haven't seen anyone online post about getting one, but this is what this card is. This is Zuko. This is the 4 elements Zuko. So you can see it has the 4 elements effect around the outside of the card, and there's only going to be 1 for every card in the set, meaning there's only 20 of this rarity overall. So that's kind of interesting. The full checklist, of course, they gave us what it all looked like. Even though they only showed us like 3 or 4 cards, they did say what each of the set list is. There's only 20 cards in the set, and there's a few repeats, like there's 2 Aangs, there's 2 Zuko's, there's 2 Team Avatars, but for the most part it seemed like they hit most of the cards they probably had to. So that's fine. I suppose the next pictures I'm going to show you are that I did put out the sort of call for like, hey, if you get your pack, send me a picture of what you got so I can show it off in a video. So Austin emailed me and sent me a picture of what he got in his pack. So we'll cover that here. So here are the first 6 cards he got in his pack. So you can see his parallel was a green parallel Aang, and then 5 of his commons were the same Aang but in common. He got the Avatar State Aang, Katara, Momo, and Toph. And then the rest of his pack was Avatar Roku, Zuko, Mei, and Azula. So, highlights, a decent selection throughout the set, especially if you look at the numbers on the back. So that Aang is the number 1 card out of the 20 in the set. The Avatar State Aang is number 2. So we got 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 13, 9, 18, 15. So, a decent spread from throughout the set. And you can see here they do have the character names on the backs. It's not just a plain back of the card, which is kind of interesting, but it does highlight that again. The cards are just promo shots of the characters on a straight up trading card. It's not a game. You can't really do anything with them. They're purely here to be collectibles, and because it's sort of forced scarcity, because it's an on-demand set and they're telling you all the numbers, it sort of just highlights that, like, okay, it's collectible, there's going to be a demand, but how much of a demand is there going to be given the sort of, I think, limitation of it being a relatively simple sort of product in the end. So that's kind of interesting. The final thing is, of course, with the parallel, how do you know what number your card is? Because the back, it's still just number 1. Well, if you zoom in, you can see here, it's Austin got the number 1 out of 50 green parallel Aang, meaning that no one else has this 1 out of 50 green Aang. They could have the number 1 out of 50 Avatar State Aang in green, but no one else can have this specific Aang in this color. So that's the unique cool factor to this, why there's sort of an intrigue about, like, ooh, what if I got the really rare one? What if I got the cool number? That sort of stuff. So let's then go into the set. So people on eBay have got these, obviously some kind of people more into selling cards bought a bunch of these, and so I guess have multiple copies of the commons and are selling them. And here's a picture that includes all of the commons. So you can see here, Aang, we saw that one, we saw the Aang. Katara and Sokka, they posted before, and we've seen these images before. Appa, Momo, pretty standard. Toph, Toph, I think, is one of the few true disappointments, I think, of the cards here. While that's a nice image of Toph, it's also an old image of Toph. Everyone has seen this stock piece of Toph art before, and compared to some of the newer pieces of art, which feel really stylish and new, having a fan favorite character like Toph just have one of her oldest pieces of art as the card feels a little bit lazy to me. Zuko, of course, has the brand new Book 3 Zuko piece of art, which is super, super cool. I do hope I get this card because I love that art for Zuko. Then you go back to the kind of old school Book 1 Zuko art, but then Suki has her new art, which again we saw a glimpse of this as part of the Kickstarter campaign for the Avatar Legends role-playing game, where they revealed Suki as a character. So I love this new art for Suki. Similarly, new art for Iroh, which again we saw as part of that Kickstarter. I'm not sure on this Boomy if it is completely brand new or not. I personally don't really remember seeing this one before, but it's a nice pose for Boomy for sure, and he stands out as being one of the kind of more side characters, of course, in the set. That's kind of cool. I think this might be new Avatar Roku art, but either way, it's cool just to have an Avatar in the Avatar state and seeing Roku like this. We've seen this Team Avatar image before. It's been used quite a lot, of course. The second big disappointment, I think, is the Azula card. Again, one of the older promo shots of the character, to the point where it almost doesn't quite look like what you almost picture the character as. You can tell that, this shot realistically came out before they did most of the animation on Azula episodes, so it feels a little like it's Azula, you can tell it's Azula, but it doesn't really match up with a lot of the sort of scenes you remember from the show necessarily. Again, I wish there was just new art for especially Toph and Azula. Maybe Sokka as well could have done with something newer, but especially Toph and Azula as fan favorites. Cabbage Merchant, it's not a new piece of art, but it's a classic piece of art, so he's the meme character here in the set. Of course, they had to go with a very, very recognizable shot. Standard sort of Team Avatar shot is fine, but again, it's only the very start of the series Team Avatar, including no other characters. This May feels somewhat new to me. I don't remember seeing this shot before, but I think it looks quite good, fits the character of May. here's the new Ty Lee image that we had. Again, we saw as part of the Kickstarter. So it's her kind of winking, doing a nice pose. Again, I think of the cards in this set, my guess would be that the ones that have a lot of hype behind them probably are the new Zuko, the new Ty Lee, probably the new Suki, and maybe just Cabbage Merchant, just to have a Cabbage Merchant card if you don't have one from the old trading card game. And then Jet, we've seen that image before for Jet. He definitely feels like the sort of real odd one out, you know, as just like, okay, and we'll put Jet in here as well, instead of like, say, Kyoshi or someone like that. It's an interesting set, you know, it's a decent selection of cards, but it's also weird in the sense of some of this art is new, some of this art we've maybe only seen for the last 1-2 years, some of it's really old, and then some of it's brand new. You just wish there was a little bit more consistency, because if this was 20 cards with like completely new art that we'd never seen before outside of this, or only recently in the Kickstarter, I think there'd be a lot more interest in this. As it is right now, it just sort of feels like, okay, it's Avatar cards, it's new Avatar cards. I can see there being some hype behind it, but just to me, myself, as a collector of Avatar merchandise, I feel I'm going to be happy with my one pack. And I think for a lot of people, they might be like, I'll buy one single card, even if it's just a common, and they'll be happy with that. I think it's just one of those ones where, because it's such a forced, you know, scarcity, I wouldn't feel an immediate need to jump in and like find the whole set, especially try to go after like a lot of the colored cards as well, because if we look at the pricing, now this is ordered highest to lowest, so it's, you know, it's showing what people are trying to get. So you can see Black Border Azula, number 5 out of 5, 600? No way. This is an interesting one. So this is a lot set, what, 12 blue parallels for 500? That still feels super excessive to me. You know, the Black Border Appa here, number 3 out of 5 for 500. There's a White Border May for 500. White Border's Roku for 350. What's this? 10 unopened packs for 300. It's one of those ones where like that actually, like, I suppose isn't too bad in terms of, obviously if you bought them from Topps directly before they sold out, it was only 10 per pack. But if the going rate of these cards is as high as this, and they're actually going to sell for that much, buying a pack for 30 when by default any parallel is worth more than that is actually, you know, somewhat decent value. Because like, look, this is kind of interesting. 300 for, I think that's what, every blue card, one of every blue card. That's sort of interesting. 200 for a red May, bit interesting. But I think the really weird thing is that like some people honestly trying to get 100 for like a blue parallel, which any pack opened is going to have a blue at the very least, and then it goes up from there if you get lucky. So it just kind of feels like, wow, trying to like multiply by 10 the amount you spent on the product by selling them this high. Now it obviously gets lower as you go down, of like, you know, some people saying like 75, 60 around the price here. If we do low to high, obviously we're going to get some commons being sold here. There is a blue parallel Katara for, it is a bid. It's not like a buy now for 10. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder what any of those will actually go for in the end. But again, it highlights that, you know, in general, in terms of money value, it seems like for sure if you bought a pack from Topps and you sell the cards, you probably will make back more than the price you paid for it, because it seems like at the very least your blue card is worth at least 10, probably 20, could go up as high as like 50, 60 if any of them sell for that much. And then the commons are going to have some sort of value as well. It seems like it's going to be at least a couple of dollars per card. I haven't seen too much of a variance depending on sort of what the card actually is. The pricing definitely is just based on the sort of rarity of the card rather than specifically which one it is. I'd say of the set, the weakest cards are definitely probably, I'd say Jet and Momo are probably the two kind of like worst cards in the set. And then, like I said, it's probably stuff with the new art, and then some of the really obvious stuff like, new art characters like Iroh, Suki, Zuko, Ty Lee. Cabbage Merchant will probably just have some bit of a meme hype behind it. Avatar State Aang, because it's a nice pose, seems quite good. And then some of the other ones just feel very middle of the road. So, yeah, and then like 25 and so on. Yeah, so it's interesting. The prices are all over the place for now. We'll see what stuff actually starts to sell for. And then obviously, like I said there, we have not seen how much a 4 elements card goes for. If people are trying to honestly get like a couple of hundred for a black border card, you kind of have to assume that a 4 element card probably is really high hundreds. Someone probably will try and get 1,000, but again, I haven't seen anyone who actually get one yet. So, it's interesting. The main thing in this video is just what are your thoughts on this set? Did you buy any packs? If you did, what cards did you get? What color parallel did you end up getting? And if you maybe aren't involved, just based on the new art, which cards to you stand out the most? And then of the new pieces of art, which ones do you like the most? And which characters do you wish had gotten maybe an updated piece of art for their card? So I'm pretty much just going to end the video there with just let me know what your thoughts are on the Topps On Demand set for Avatar. That's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.